Hello everyone, Kurigu here and welcome. Today I decided I'd like to start a new series. A series based around Thaumcraft research. And it's come to my attention recently that not everyone finds Thaumcraft the easiest in the world. For some, starting up can be difficult or nigh on impossible. And the research, some people just don't like, find it boring. But others do get it well, so if you are one of these who enjoys the research, enjoys the surprise, I do recommend you leave now and just enjoy playing with the mod itself. But for those of you who get stuck easily and need some help through the research or generally just starting up in general, I've created this series of videos to try and help you into getting into the Thaumcraft world. So in this first video, I hope to get into how to start in Thaumcraft and how to do the first few bits of research and various factors on starting up. And in future episodes, I'm basically going to be wanting to make a bit of a cheat sheet, if you will, on the research, going through each individual research one by one, showing you the ways to connect, and basically a way to power through it if you enjoy the Thaumcraft mod, but not necessarily the research part of it. So, without further ado, let's just hop straight in. So the first thing you're going to want to do when you start out in Thaumcraft is make one of these, an iron capped wooden wand. They're simple enough, just a stick with two iron caps either end, which is just some nuggets in the shape of a helmet. Either end of a stick gives you an iron capped wand. And you're going to want a bookshelf, and what you're going to do is put the bookshelf on the ground and just tap it with a wand, and that gives you the Thaumonomicon. Now, for the most part throughout this series, I'm going to assume that you have read all this, and it seems I've got a slight problem with the fact this is all unlocked. So I'm going to assume that you will have read all this, or are currently reading it as we progress, and basically I'm going with the theory of if it's there written down, it generally means it's wanting to be read. So since I've got this unlocked at the moment, I'll give you a quick skim of the combinations of the various aspects I'll be looking into, but I will try my best to reset this just now so we can start off from scratch on the same page basically. So I'll go fix that just now and I'll be right back. So I kind of managed to fix the little derp up earlier on. I have managed to relock all the research, so it should all be re-unlockable now. However, I have been unable to reset the aspects. So unfortunately I actually know all the aspects because of whatever glitch appeared. But I'll still go through how to get them, how it all works. And once we're getting into the actual cheat sheet section, it'll actually be rather handy to have this. So normally when you'd start research, you'd come across it. Let's get the research table. And just put the scribing tools. Forgot to show you the recipe there. Just get a table like that and some scribing tools, and there's a recipe here for refilling as it does take some wear, and just for being stylish I've got a little stool here. Normally when you select research you just click on it, so when you click on this you have paper and a quill in your paper and a scribing tool in your inventory. So when you click on it you get a research note, and you would put this research note in here. Now, since I have all these aspects like cognito and senses, I actually have these showing. Otherwise you would have question marks, which means you'd have to look them up or scan more stuff and find a way of getting them. So I'm going to go ahead and show you a good way of getting the basics out of the way, and how to get, and for those who don't know, how to actually get aspects in general to be used for the minigame that is here. So, for those who don't know, the actual way to get the aspects is basically to run around with this thermometer, which means you need to get one of any of these shards, a bit of glass, some gold, and this is the 6 shards you have in the world naturally. And when you go to scan these first off, you'll find that you don't actually learn anything, but since I've got all the aspects I need to learn, I do. So you'd normally run around the world and usually have trouble getting it until you actually know what you're doing. Like water is a primal aspect, you didn't understand that one, but you don't know what the leaves are initially in the game. So a good way to do that is to scan these kinds of items first, like a torch. So this is the best order to scan them in. You get Lux, and if we were looking the Thaumanomicon, you'll find that Lux is a tier 1, judging by the wiki page. It should be on here somewhere. Lux, which is air and Ignis. Air and Ignis being a primal aspect and a primal. So basically you can't learn anything for like alienness. You don't know what alienness is, and you can't scan anything that has alienness unless you know Vacuous and Tenebrae. Vacuous being air and Perdito, which means that would be a tier 1, meaning that you could scan anything with Vacuous on it as long as you know the two primals. And Tenebrae, you'd need to know Vacuous first and then Lux to know Tenebrae. So that takes care of Lux first. The next handy one to scan would be Cobblestone. Cobblestone will give us Saxum. Saxum be made up of, I think it's Terra and Terra. See if I can find it. Saxum, Terra and Terra. So running through these, we have coal, which will get us Potentia, which is really handy. And something worth noting here is you can scan the blocks in the world, or you could scan the item version to get it, so Ignis Potentia. But something else to note is if you look at these, which is coal 263 and coal ore 16, they're the same item in Minecraft terms, but they actually have different IDs, which means they're actually different items. So as a block, it has a different ID number, chicken does of course, than the item version of it. Just something to keep in mind if you're looking about for it. And next on the list would be, for Vacuous, a wooden bowl. You could also use a few other things, and like chests and buckets, but they're later down the line. But this is generally where you get this doubling point. The key to a lot of the future aspects is Victus. Victus is quite a hard one to come across because there is stuff you could scan, I think chicken eggs being one of them, but this comes to a new version of discovering research, and you can actually combine them in the research table. So I just happen to know that Aquia, if I can find that just now, and Terra can combine together to make Victus. So if I click this little button here, I get a by Victus. Had I not known a Victus already, then I would have been able to create that and gain the knowledge from it, and then add that to the knowledge base. Once we've learned Victus, let's just scan these items in order, so we can get seeds for Granum, grass for Herba, any wood for Arbor, a trapdoor for Motus, and just something else to note as well. If we scan this item to see Motus, which is that moving man thing, if you hold shift over the items you can actually see what they are as well, but as I haven't scanned these yet I can't do that. And then we'll go for iron ore for Metallum. Potion of weakness would give us Motus and Percantio, which is the magic one. Or alternatively you could, that's the reference of research Motus with Victus and Perdito. So that would be Perdito and Victus is here to give us Mortis. And Moss Stone would give us Percantio. For the chicken, Volatus and Bestia, Soul Sand, Spiritus, a very handy one, Paper Gato, Rotten Flesh, Flint, Wool, Cake. And it's very important for this one, it's actually the cake in the the item form, as opposed to the actual block form. Or you could do apple and a milk bucket, and the final obsidian. And the rest you can pick up along the way. So I'll demonstrate this. If we scan the cake, we can see we get quite a lot of information from this. But really we're looking for Sano, which is the little heart in a jar, frames and messy. But if we were to then place that down and scan it again, My apologies, the wiki seems to be lying slightly. Okay, so basically, yeah, just a cake or apple and milk bucket for those. So, I think that's about enough of that just now. Let's get into the research. So how the research actually works is we have to use this mini game to drag along different pieces to try and connect the likes of this, which is Ordo and Cognito with Census. And you see that Metallum made a line and it didn't to some other ones, like it doesn't to Herba, doesn't to Fabrico. Some it connects to, some it doesn't. Now the reason why this will connect and others don't is if we look into what they're actually made up of or can make up. Now if we were to look up to Ordo, it should be along here somewhere. Ordo, you'll see it's a primal aspect, so it's not made up of anything. But we can look at the next one which worked, which was Metallum, made up of Saxum and Ordo. And you'll see if we go to Herba, which is another one we tried, did not work, it'll be made up of two completely different aspects, Tranum and Terra. So there's no Ordo involved in the making of Herba. So basically we need to use an item that is made up from Ordo. And that is the basics of the mini game here. Or an alternative is to use something that makes up the item. So for Metallum here, we'll see what makes up Metallum again. We can see Saxum connects to Ordo. Now at this point I should say I'm not actually using the correct one, I'm just using an example. So Ordo to Metallum to Saxum. But that's nice to just make a line. What we need to do is connect to Cognito. So we're going to have to look in our book again to see what Cognito is made of. Cognito is made of Terra and Spiritus. So we know Terra is a primal. So what's Spiritus made up of? If we look here, Spiritus is made up of Mortis and Victus. And I just follow this through to follow, say, Mortis. Mortis is made up of Victus and Perdito. Victus being made up of Aqua and Terra. So as you saw here earlier that we've got likes of Saxum, which is made up of Terra. So we didn't actually follow a bad line, it just means to have a complicated line. Or an alternative could be to go through Census, to see what Census is made up of. So as we can see, Census is made up of Air and Spiritus. Spiritus again being used for Victus and Mortis. So let's have a little play in here and see what trouble we get into. So if we say Census is made up of Spiritus, so is Saxum, Cognito. So if we look at the two of these, they both connect with Victus. Have a look back in here again, and don't worry, this does get easier. Victus, let me find that again, is made up with Aqua and Terra. So we could take Terra to Victus, and then we could take, well, Terra makes up Saxum, Saxum being here, and we already know Metallum connects to Ordo, so let's use some Metallum. Now I'm not saying this is a very efficient method of doing this, this is just an example of how to do it and what could be done in the process. So as we can see, this is the first research expertise, which is one of the first ones I actually recommend on getting. I do recommend completing this first page before attempting, or this at least this branch, before continuing any further research. And if you're doing node tapping things like that, this is very handy to get as well. But really you need to start on this path for research expertise. And as this point onwards will just be a research guide. I won't really go into details of what each unlockable does and how it works, but just really the research side of it. So you can see we've unlocked research expertise. Research expertise means that we have a chance of regaining a point if we remove it from a board, and we can see in the actual research table what makes up what. So this will greatly progress our research. So let me finish off this branch with, I would recommend research mastery next. Let's see what we can get into research mastery. Here we've got Perdito, made up of Potentia and Vacuous. Perdito is quite a good one because Potentia is made up of Ordo and Ignis, and Vacuous, Air and Perdito. So it is a tier 2 with 4 different primals, so it's very easy to link into. As we're familiar with Cognito, another common one being Terra and Spiritus. Spiritus with Vacuous and Mortis, Mortis being Vacuous, Victus and Perdito, and Victus being Water and Terra. And we remember Census. As you can see, it's a lot faster lookup, being Air and Spiritus. Spiritus again. So one method could be to use Spiritus like we did in the last one, but I think a more efficient one being that we use the primals, or closer to primals as much as we can. Connect to Air for Census. From Air we could head towards Perdito through Vacuous. And from Vacuous we could go, say, back to Air, and then back to Vacuous again, and that connects us to Perdito. Now connecting Census to Order, let's see, it was a little bit tricky last time because we had to go up one again, which is a little unusual. Let's see if we can go to There's one thing I've learnt, is Metallum is quite common in this, so let's try Metallum, which gets us the Saxum, which we can then do to the Earth, which will work this down the way it goes to Spiritus, to Victus. I seem to have missed a step. I believe it was Saxum, was it not? Yes, Saxum. So Saxum to Terra. I could have always went Perdito route, but let's see. Just an example of different ways you can do it. I believe Terra went into Victus, and Victus went into Spiritus. Now here's another handy trick, is just use Saxum, Terra, Saxum, Terra, to bounce across the board. Just alternating between two common ones to connect to the Cognito, which had the Earth and Spiritus. So here we go, we have Research Mastery, another very good early on one. From here we will see that if we remove an aspect from in the hex, there's a 50% chance of getting it back. Additionally, there's a 10% chance that you will not lose an aspect when you place it. And lastly, you can combine research and the aspect table by control clicking. I will say now this is a typo, and it's actually shift click. So if, for example, we want more, let's see what's a good one. Tempestus. Why not? Or Census. If I shift click this one, you can see I've got another one that uses Spiritus and Air. So Spiritus is at 46, Census is at 51. You can see that goes down one, Census does, and although Air is off the page, it goes down as well. You can see that we can take two lower elements to create one higher, so therefore it's always a better idea to use as close to primal as possible. And for the last one of note in this branch, and probably for this episode being the first episode, is the deconstruction table. So let's get the research done on this one. So we've got Perdido, I forget that one is Fabricus, something. Let's see where it is. Should be on here somewhere. Fabrico and Cognito. So we can see that Fabrico is made up of Humanus and Instrumentum, Cognito Spiritus. Humanus is actually made up of Cognito, so we could very well just go, for example, Humanus, and from there we could either bounce back to Cognito, go to Bestia. Let's go back to Cognito and Humanus, and that connects those ones. Like Humanus was Spiritus, wasn't it? Instrumentum, Humanus anyway. So there's no point going to Instrumentum because it's made up of Humanus and orders a primal as well. So if we go Cognito to Spiritus to there, that was probably the best route for us. To go from Cognito to Spiritus to Mortis. Let's find something vacuous. That's made out of that. So there we go. So if you end up with the same one next to you, there's a little curve there, seems fine. An instruction table is something handy and something I will show just now actually before we finish this up. It's just a thermometer, table and some gold tools. And what this is useful for, if I was to demonstrate like this, let's get off of this. If we were to take an item for say paper for example, it'll slowly start breaking it down into its components. So let's scan paper and see what's in there just now actually. So we see paper is made up of Cognito. Cognito being a very popular one today. Probably easier if I go into the table here. Be made up of Terra and Spiritus. Spiritus being made up of Soul being Mortis, Perdido, Earth, Water and Terra. So there's Water and Terra used in there, Perdido in Mortis and Terra Incognito itself. So there's a chance of coming down to a primal, so there's probably more chance of being Terra than there is for it to be Water or Perdido. So if we come back here, we'll see Perdido was actually selected there, and if we were to click on this and click there, we see Perdido was actually added to our accumulation of aspects. So if we let this run for more time, we'll get more along we go. Actually, I've found a really good one to put in here has been the Chura berries, because they've got a selection of almost all of the aspects and they're generally in a high abundance. So you can have several of these going at once, and you can see there's not a guaranteed chance of it and it will just waste a lot of it. But every now and then it will just give you another aspect there to add to your accumulation. So with that, I think that's a good wrapping up point for our first episode. To summarise the basics of Thaumcraft, the things you want research to start off in, the basic first things you want to research in this branch here, so you get some research expertise to make it so you can see what's in the table, research mastery so you have less likelihood of using the aspects, and a way to get more aspects if you start running out without having to run around the world scanning, although that is a good method to just top up whatever you think, anything you haven't found is all worth a scan. You get a good chunk of points for things. That's 4 from there. Now we're 1 from the leaves. Air and that. So there's a lot you can get from scanning, but I think that's a good summary for our first episode. And as I said, most of the future episodes from this will probably just be almost all research table based. What you need, anything unusual like how to get it, like limus from slime balls, is surprisingly important in infusion crafting. So I'm just going to make my way through the Thaumonomicon in these future episodes and basically do the research for you and let you copy away. So thanks everyone for watching. I hope this will help you, and if you want to see more of what I'm doing in the research, tune in for my future episodes, and I will see you all next time. Thank you. Goodbye.